We're going to go on a journey through the timeless masterpiece that is Beethoven's Fur Elise. Whether you've started learning it or it's on that list of pieces you just love to learn, then join me as we're going to go through 10 ways to level up your practice, your approach, and your performance of Beethoven's Fur Elise. The first step that we're going to take is to talk about shaping and phrasing. So a phrase is a bit like a musical sentence. We want to push the music toward the center of the phrase and then pull it back slightly at the end. Another thing that you can do to shape your phrases is to get a little bit louder towards the high point with a crescendo and then a little bit softer towards the end point with a diminuendo. You want to do these on each of your phrases to shape them nicely. The second thing that we're going to look at in this first section, which we're going to call the A section, is legato. So there are different types and levels of legato that you can use. But legato is essentially just smoothly connecting sounds, and you can do that first with your fingers. If you don't overlap your fingers enough, you're going to end up with quite a detached, fingery sound. But if you overlap them too much, you're going to end up with quite a blur. So use your ear to determine exactly how much you need to overlap your fingers. Legato is, of course, about smoothly connecting sounds. And one of the best ways that you can achieve this smooth fluency is by using movement. Instead of holding your hand still and creating that fingery detached sound, try flowing through from one hand to another with a movement that helps you to smooth out those notes, even experimenting with minimal finger movement. The fourth point is all about clarity and pedal. So Fur Elise has this beautifully classical middle section, which really benefits from clarity and evenness in the sound. So I would definitely use the sustain pedal here, but with a slight difference. Instead of using your normal legato pedaling, try experimenting instead with some finger pedaling. So this is where you hold the bass note or the first note of each bar down in this section, and then you let the other notes just go unsustained. What that's going to do is provide some sustain, but not too much that we blur the section. What I actually like to do is use a combination of both the finger pedaling and using the sustain pedal at the end of the bar, and just trying to find a balance between them so that you end up with a nice sustained sound, but without it becoming a big blur. So the fifth point is all about groups and evenness. Now, you may be thinking that whenever I say the word even, it's followed by the word metronome. And while you do want to use the metronome in your practice, you don't want to do it without first considering these 2 points. The first of these is groups. This short section with the demi-semiquavers, or 30-second notes as you may call them, can neatly be broken up into bars, which then we can turn into groups. These can be really handy to practice with a metronome to increase your speed, but not without first thinking about our second part, which is all to do with movement. Yes, this time we're thinking about the movement of rotation, specifically forearm rotation. And it's just when the demi-semis or the 30-second notes begin. You have this short bar of rotary movement that you go through, and it's far easier to use a rotation of the wrist rather than using each finger to play every note. Now, of course, you can use a combination of both your fingers moving and rotation to get the best result. Number 6 is all about harmony and tension. We're going to move to my favourite part of the piece, which is the C section. And this contains a lot of movement and a lot of tension. For dramatic tension in the sound, pay really close attention to those chords that really want to pull toward the next chord. For instance, there are a lot of diminished chords, and these chords have a really strong pull toward the next chord. But by delaying when you play the next one, delaying the resolution, you create that tension in the sound. The C section is also another area where you can really aim for legato between the fingers. That's also going to help you with this tension and resolution between notes. Number 7 is fluency. On to the final flourish before the A section comes back once more. And we're into this cadenza-like section with the arpeggio and the chromatic scale. For the arpeggio, I have seen some bizarre finger markings in some scores that go 1-3-5, 1-3-5 as you go up. I would recommend against this and instead use a 1-2-3, 1-3-5 approach instead. It's far smoother and it allows you to get your thumb under your hand really smoothly. As with any arpeggio, aim for a smooth and flowing motion. Go around the notes and aim for that thumb going under really smoothly. Onto the chromatic scale, and if you know the fingering of a chromatic scale, 3-1-3, 1-3-2-1 and so on, then this section is made far easier. So number 8 is all to do with the structure of the music. Now we've actually been talking through the structure of the music as we've been going. We've been talking about the A section and the B section and the C section. So it's really important to know what the structure of the music is for practice purposes, both so that you can practice in different chunks and you know which section that you're focusing on, but also in terms of memory and performance as well. So Fur Elise is in a 5-part rondo form, A, B, A, C, A. So number 9 is all to do with tempo, and tempo can be a tricky one in Fur Elise. It's always one of the last things that you think about is how fast you're going to play a piece. And one of the tricky things about this piece is that the A section and the B section seem to go at different speeds, or can do. So it's very easy to play the start of Fur Elise quite quickly and then slow down dramatically in the B section. So what I would recommend is using the B section to determine how fast you're going to play the rest of the piece. Number 10 is all about the climax and the golden ratio. So the climax of Fur Elise lies really close to the golden ratio. And if you want to know more about the golden ratio and the hidden structure behind art and music, click here.